track is clear. Let's go ahead and pick your pace up here. The lights are off. Great. All right, caution flag, caution flag. All right, drivers in this first group, we did realize that the track is a little greasy. You do have the option to go back out. Just get back in line if you do want to go back out. That's your choice. We want to get everybody the same opportunity here. The track is coming in. It should be better. We're going to roll the second group out here and work the track a little bit before we let you go. Caution, caution, caution. That completes your hot laps. Drivers, go ahead and head to the pit side and prep for your time trials. caution, caution, caution. Good job, drivers. Just complete your hot lap session. Go take a pit side and be ready to line up for your time trials.
Xtreme stock drivers for your warm-ups to the staging area. Xtreme stock drivers for your warm-ups to the staging area, please. Third and final group of late-model Sportsman drivers wrapping up tonight. They're going back to the pits to make their...
Caution, caution, caution. Good job, drivers. That completes your hot laps. Go take a pit side and prep for your heat racing.
All right, check her down on our second and final group of Bob Spielman Realty Extreme Stocks, being presented by Sign Design by Bill Funk.
All right, drivers, thank you for your patience of rolling in there. The track is clear here. Lights are off. Go ahead and pick up your pace. And green, green, green. Watch out for a spinning car in turn 3, drivers. Spinning car in turn 3. Turn 2, sorry. Caution, caution, caution. Car, you have a low battery on your transponder. If you can charge your transponder or get another one from the scale house.
Your point leader Kyle Lee in the 15K, 98 to Quentin Beeman, the F1 to Colby Fry. As we get set, time trials coming up for our Metzler trailer sales late model Sportsman division.
Remember, drivers, after your time trial, you get your checker flag, exit out the back stretch through the scales.
All right, once again, Taylor Farlane out of Newville, Pennsylvania, car number 8F, making his way onto the Speedway. Taylor in the top 10 in late model sportsman or super late model action last night at the Bedford Speedway, joining him in this 2-lap time trial. Car number 14H, that'll be Tyler Horst out of Wingsboro, Pennsylvania. All right, 19.912, going to be lap number 1 time for Taylor Farlane. As Tyler Horst comes by, he'll be at 19.956. 19.956, that'll be second fastest right now for the driver out of Wingsboro, Pennsylvania. Second lap for Farlane, he'll drop it down, 19.542. 19.542. And the 14H of Taylor Horst will wrap up. The Wingsboro, Pennsylvania driver.
Again. Thanks for exiting on the backstretch.
19.956 will be his best lap time. That was a
through the scales. All cars go through the scales after you qualify.
All right, coming up next at D19, Dylan Stake at Mapleton Depot, Pennsylvania. He'll be making his way onto the Speedway. Joining him in this 2-lap session, car number 27 out of Huntington, Pennsylvania, it'll be Lee Ziegler. White flag coming back for our 2 drivers. Dylan Stake, first lap, 19.617. That will put him number 2. Lee Ziegler, no lap on that 27. Right now, 19.841 for the driver out of Huntington, Pennsylvania. That will put Lee in 3rd. D19 of Dylan Stake trying to see if he can claim the top spot. Coming by this time, and he will be at 19.617. That will be his best lap time. Lee Ziegler, a 19.841 will be his fastest time, and for the moment that has him third. All right, on the speedway now. Car number 2, this will be Dan Zeckman out of Littlestown, Pennsylvania. Another driver we see up at Baps Motor Speedway on occasion. And your point leader, car number 15K, the most recent late model Sportsman winner here at the Hagerstown Speedway at Mercersburg, Pennsylvania. It's the General. Here comes Kyle Lee. All right, Zeckman rolling down through 3 and 4, back to the stripe. He'll be the first of 2 to take time in this latest group. Car number 2 is Zeckman up to third, 19.673 on lap number 1. Lee in the 15K trying to find himself a comfortable spot. And right now Lee is fifth at 19.887, 19.887 for the driver of the 15K. Taylor Farling right now still up top, 19.542. Second lap for Zeckman, 19.673 will be his best lap time. And Lee will make it back to the stripe. Fifth on lap number 1. .988, make it 887 for Kyle Lee, which will have him in the number 5 spot. All right, 98 Quentin Beeman on the racetrack right now. The driver hailing out of Stewartstown, Pennsylvania, regular in our Crown Vic division. And car number F1, Colby Fry, the Dover, Pennsylvania, one-time feature winner at the Baps Motor Speedway earlier this year. Everybody chasing Taylor Farling right now with that 19.542. Back to the stripe, lap number 1 for Beeman. Going to be a 21.199. Does the first few races for Beeman, jumping up from a Crown Vic. And Colby Fry, 20.148 that time by, 20.148. Second lap for Beeman. All right, so right now Taylor Farling, Dylan Stake, Dan Zeckman, Lee Ziegler, and Kyle Lee. They are the top 5 in Group A qualifying. Coming up in a few moments at Trip 0, that's scheduled to be Dale Murphy out of Stevensville, Maryland. He came out on the track, but now he's going to dump it back into the back pit area. Car number 18, Rick Holson out of Glen Burnie, Maryland, out on the track. And Rick, a former modified racer here with us, did late model racing years ago, jumped to modifieds, now back into late model sportsman action as he takes the green flag. And Murphy dumps the Trip 0 car back into the pit area. So again, time to beat, 19.542 set by Taylor Farling. He was the very first driver out. Dylan Stake, Dan Zeckman, Lee Ziegler, Kyle Lee, the top 5. Holson makes his way back to the stripe. And he'll be 8th right now, 20.201, 20.201. Field off of turn number 4, and it's going to be Holson in the 18. See if he can bump up a little bit. He will remain down there in the number 8 spot. 21, or make it 20.201 will be his best lap time. All right, next up in the 01, going to be Jacob Piper out of Mercersburg, Pennsylvania. Jacob running at Bedford last night, doing some super late model racing. And joining him, winner from last year, in car number 14, our 12th driver out. This will be Cody Breeden out of Fairplay, Maryland. All right, Piper in the 01, making his way through turn number 3 and 4. The Mercersburg, PA driver, no stranger to top runs here at Hagerstown, whether it be super late model or late model sportsman action. And Piper ninth on the board, 20.314. 20.314 for Jacob Piper. Lap number 1 for Cody Breeden. Put him up into the number 4 spot, 19.796 for the Fairplay, Maryland driver. He is 4th right now. We'll want a Piper back to the stripe.
Good job, drivers. Just a reminder to exit on your backstretch through the scales. Thank you. Good job so far.
All right, on track next at 2+2. This will be Cody Kirshner at Greencastle, Pennsylvania. And a 6-time limited late model winner, the 23 Lane Snook out of Port Royal, Pennsylvania. All right, Kirshner, lap number 1, 11th on the board, 20.347. Snook to the top, 19.346. Lane Snook is new top qualifier. Driver out of Port Royal, Pennsylvania. It'll be Kirshner back to the stripe with the 2+2 machine, wrapping up his 2-lap time. And as we mentioned, Lane Snook, a 6-time winner between Bedford, Port Royal, Sealands Grove, at 19.346. That will be top time tonight for the driver at Port Royal, Pennsylvania. So that will move Taylor Farlene to 2nd. Dylan Stake, Dan Zeckman, Cody Breeden top 5 with Lee Ziegler and Kyle Lee, the point leader, just behind them. All right, next up, he's a 3-time winner of the Maps Motor Speedway. Car number 86 out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania. This is Scott Palmer. And joining him in this 2-lap run, car number 16 out of Charlestown, West Virginia, Justin Dillman. Palmer always strong out of the gate, and he's had a good season at Baps Motor Speedway. Always solid runs when he comes here to Hagerstown. Moves at 86 back through turn number 3 and 4. Back to the stripe for the Greencastle, Pennsylvania driver. And Palmer will go number 10 at 20.170. 20.170. 16 of Dillman. He's been a heat race winner this year in late model sportsman action. Justin back to the stripe. And lap number 1 for Justin. He'll be 11th right now at 20.172. 20.172. So 2 drivers left to go here in Group A qualifying for our Metzler Trailer Sales Late Model Sportsman Division, being brought to you by Elite Mechanical and Welding in Martinsburg, West Virginia. So far, Lane Snook, Taylor Farlene, Dylan Stake, Dan Zeckman, Cody Breeden, top 5, as we've got the number 5 of Brad Ops at Winchester, Virginia, making his way onto the Speedway. And the final driver joining him in Group A qualifying, car number 12 out of Hanover, Pennsylvania. This will be Bobby Beard. Once again, 19.346, the time everybody's looking at to try and beat. It's going to be Brad Oms off at turn number 4, back to the stripe, lap number 1 for the Winchester, Virginia driver. And great lap for Oms, 3rd on the board, 19.582 for Brad Oms. Bobby Beard in the number 12, his first lap, 16th fastest right now at 20.660. Oms really has the 5 hooked up. He brings it off at turn number 4, final lap for the Winchester driver. And Brad Oms will wrap it up. Number 3 on the board right now as the 12 of Bobby Beard comes by. He was 16th on round number 1, but for the time being, unofficially, Lane Snook tops on the board with Taylor Farlene, Brad Oms, Dylan Stake, and Dan Zeckman currently the top 5.
Drivers, as a reminder, after your checkered flag for your time trials, exit off the back stretch through the scales.
All right, he has got us confused as you know what. Oh no, I guess is what we say when we see it. Scheduled to be Kyle Lear in the 25K. I'm assuming that's who it is, but the way things go around here, no. 36 is Sam Archer out of Waldorf, Maryland, also going to be out on the track in this two-lap session. Lear, as we mentioned, opening night late model sportsman winner and defending Free State 30 champion. Runner-up last night at the Bedford Speedway. He's got a variety of victories at different racetracks this year, and he loves Hagerstown Speedway. Coming back to the stripe. Lap number one going to be a 19.965 for Kyle Lear out of Severino Park, Maryland. 36 is Sam Archer back to the stripe. Lap number one for him, 20.376. That will tuck him into the number 2 spot here in Group B qualifying. Second lap for Lear, 19.546. All right, so a 19.546 for Kyle Lear. That will be one of the highest marks of the night of late model sportsman action. 20.260 lap time for Sam Archer. All right, on the track right now, 25, Andy Anderson, the veteran out of Bunker Hill, West Virginia, making his return behind the wheel. His son Braden does a lot of racing. 94, Brandon Bard, also out there, driver out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania. Bard 7th last night at Bedford in late model sportsman action as they went their way by. Lap number one, 20.264 for Andy Anderson. That will have him number 3 on the board. 94, Brandon Bard. He'll go number 2 on this group, 19.762 for Brandon Bard. Final lap coming up for Andy Anderson. He will move up into the number 3 spot. 20.082 will be his best lap time. And for the 94, Brandon Bard, 19.577 will lock him into the number 2 spot right now. All right, next up, car number 21M. He's a regular of the Baps Motor Speedway. This will be Matt Murphy out of Bel Air, Maryland. And joining him in this 2-lap qualifying run, car number 11S out of Strasburg, Virginia, Austin Stover. All right, Matt Murphy will be fourth. 20.095 will be his best lap time. That will have him third now. 20.065 for Murphy. Austin Stover will move up into the number 5 spot. 20.161. So right now, Kyle Lear with a 19.546. That's tops in Group B. 94, Brandon Bard. 21M of Matt Murphy. 25, Andy Anderson, and the 11S of Austin Stover will be your top 5. Up next in car number 9 at St. Thomas, Pennsylvania, this is going to be Keith Walls making his way out. Joining him, the defending late model sportsman track champion here at Hagerstown, the B2 out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania. That'll be Brian Booz. All right, back to the stride. Brian Booz is getting the green flag. It's going to be Walls in car number 9 off at turn number 4. Getting that Bill Elliott look-alike back to the stripe, and he'll tuck in number 5 on lap number 1. 20.160 is a lap for Walls. Booz in the B2. Here he comes back to the stripe. And Booz to the top. 19.409 for Brian Booz. 19.378 top time for Brian Booz in the B2. And wrapping things up for Keith Walls in the number 9. He'll be number 6 on the board, 20.160. So Booz with a 19.378. Lear, Bard, Murphy, and Anderson. All right, next up at the 70J at Greencastle, Pennsylvania, two-time winner of the Selinsgrove Speedway this year. That's DJ Myers. He had some wins at Hagerstown a year ago likewise as he makes his way back. And joining him in car number 28Z out of Mifflintown, Pennsylvania, one-time winner of the Port Royal Speedway. And getting a little high in turn 3 and 4, we welcome back Ryan Zook and the 28Z. Myers fourth on the board, 19.578 that time by. And here comes Ryan Zook, 28Z. He's going to have to wait for that second lap. He drifted up in 3 and 4 lap time, 20.615. Myers goes to the number 2 spot, 19.472 for DJ Myers. Two-time Selinsgrove Speedway winner this year out of Greencastle, Pennsylvania. Ryan Zook in the 28Z. Some handling issues on that car. 20.615. He'll be 10th right now in Group B qualifying. All right, 08B of Keith Koontz in Boonesboro, Maryland. Next up on the Speedway, along with the 44X of Ralph Morgan Jr. out of Mount Union, Pennsylvania. All right, Keith Koontz back to the stripe. Lap number 1, he goes top 5, 19.748, tucks in that number 5 position. Morgan in the 44X works his way back to the stripe for lap number 1. For Ralph, it's going to be a 20.656 on that first circuit. Second and final lap for Keith Koontz, 19.748 at 20.118 was his last time. So the 19.748 has Keith in the number 5 spot. And for Ralph Morgan Jr., he does a little bit better. He moves up into the number 10 slot, 20.185. So right now, Brian Booz, DJ Myers, Kyle Lear, Brandon Bard, and Keith Koontz, top 5 in our Group B qualifying as we whittle it down to the final few. 37F of Wesley Bonebrake at Hagerstown. He'll be next up on the track, and as we mentioned, one of our winningest super late model drivers in the region. Well, he's yet to come out. We're going to skip over him, and we're going to go to the winner at Baps Motor Speedway earlier this year. That's a 2T of Trayton Lee out of Mercersburg, Pennsylvania. All right, Bonebrake going to be first to score a lap in the 37F. Hagerstown product making his way off at turn number 4 back to the stripe. He's been doing a lot of racing in Winchester, trying to see if he can take a championship up there this year. And right now, 8 on the board. Number 8 at 20.095. Trayton Lee in the 2T. Back to the line. Trayton will go up into the number 6 spot, 19.999. Lap number 1 for Trayton Lee. Second and final lap for Bonebrake. It's going to be a 20.328 on that second lap. The 20.095 will have him in the number 9 spot. Good second lap for Trayton Lee. He climbs up into third, 19.517 for the Mercersburg, Pennsylvania driver, tucked in behind Brian Booz and DJ Myers in Group B qualifying. All right, coming up next, 72. This will be Caden Bard out of Harrisonville, Pennsylvania. And joining him is going to be Mason Booz in the M2 machine out of Greencastle, PA. So again, 19.378 time to beat set by Brian Booz, DJ Myers, Trayton Lee, Kyle Lear, Brandon Bard, top 5. Caden Bard and Mason Booz, they are on the track right now. White flag out this time by for the 72, and Caden will go 13th at 20.254. Lap number 1 from Mason Booz and that M2 machine. It's a good one. He'll go number 8 at 20.079. Final lap back to the stripe, and a good second lap for Caden Bard. He climbs to 6th at 19.732. And the final lap from Mason Booz. Lap 2s are being better for everybody, and Mason climbs back up into the number 8 position. He'll be 19.941. That will be his best lap time, and that will put him in the number 8 spot. And what appears to be our final driver, we mentioned Trevor Feathers. Not sure if he had some mechanical issues during the warm-ups or not. He did not make it out for that Group B qualifying. So it looks like our final driver out tonight is going to be Sean Bowers in car number 11 at the Falling Waters, West Virginia. So again, Brian Booz, DJ Myers, Trayton Lee, Kyle Lear, and Brandon Bard, top 5 in Group B qualifying. All right, 11 is Sean Bowers, youngster making his debut in late model sportsman action. Right now, 21.836 on lap number 1. Sean getting some good track time and some laps right now in his maiden voyage in late model sportsman action as he works it back in turn number 3 and 4. And gets set for the checkered flag as we will wrap up our Metzler Trailer Sales late model sportsman qualifying. 21.495, second and final lap for Sean Bowers in the number 11 machine. All right, race fans, as we get set for our heat race activity tonight, if you could please rise as you are able, we'll deliver tonight's invocation to be followed by your national anthem. Heavenly Father, we thank you so much for the day you've given us. I think for many of us in the grandstands, depending on where we came from, we're very thankful for the opening of a bridge right outside our main entrance to the Speedway. And as always, you teach us one of our virtues is patience, and it's been a while for us to be able to get to the Speedway the right way without having to go around. And again, we thank you so very much for giving us that patience and allowing us the opportunity to still be here and enjoy each other as racing friends and family each and every night. We thank you for all the great drivers we have on hand here this evening. Lord, we ask you please protect our drivers, our crew members, and all of our safety workers and officials all around this Speedway as they perform the jobs they do to provide us the greatest in entertainment. We thank you for our military, Lord. Please put your hand on them for the ones serving in our country and all around our world. Keep them safe and protect them as they continue to protect us and afford us the opportunity to have the luxury that we have right now this evening to watch some races. At the end of the night, Lord, we ask you, please be with us as we drive home and allow us the opportunity to once again return to the Speedway another time to enjoy each other as friends and racing family. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. Well, we have a wonderful group of people here tonight. It's the Mason-Dixon Barbershop Chorus, right? Right. Yeah. Okay. So I always bring a second microphone down anyway. So just as a backup, so we present these gentlemen here to sing our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare above bursting in air gave proof through the night that our flag was
Okay, front row, good, easy pace there. Hold that cadence right there. Good job. Field, let's stack up in turn 3. We're going green and 4.
This field is stacked up. We are set for our first heat race of the night as they head into the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. Blake Reed in the number 8 out of Hagerstown. The 33, Michael Goodwin in Wellsville, Pennsylvania. The Bob Spielman Real Team. Xtreme Stocks. Being presented by Sign Design. Make the green flag and make their way back into turn number 1 and 2. It'll be Blake Reed grabbing that early lead. One car hard into the wall. He'll ride it, but still keep on going. Able to continue on. That's to the tail end of the field. Leaders are back in 3 and 4. Lap number 1 of 5 is in the books. Going to be Blake Reed. He'll schedule himself for the number 1 spot. On lap number 1, here comes a 33. Michael Goodwin, he did the crossover. Now they rub pretty good in turn number 1 and 2. And Goodwin's going to grab that lead. Side by side, row number 2 likewise. Going to be the 88 of Tyler Chase and the 8 of Keith Reed. Reed now gets in front. And here comes the 03. That'll be Danny Walters on the outside. Good shuffling from third on back. 2 and 3 wide racing, now 2 by 2 as they work it back for lap number 2. 33 of Michael Goodwin once in front. He's finding Hagerstown to his liking. He gets himself a little bit of a groove off of turn number 2. Opens up about a 4-car length advantage, but here comes Keith Reed to the inside of his son Blake down in 3 and 4. 2 laps to go in qualifier number 1. Goodwin back to the stripe. Gonna be Blake Reed holding on to second spot. Keith Reed in third. The 03 of Danny Walters holding on to the number 4 spot. Good momentum. He's right on the rear deck lid of Keith Reed. And Dylan Beavers from the back, the point leader in the 62, trying to power his way up into 5th. But as they come off of turn number 4, white flag in the air this time by. Once in front, Goodwin hasn't been able to really pull away, but he's got a comfortable edge. Keith Reed with a good low side run off of turn number 2, and that will vault him past Blake down the back straightaway. And Goodwin in the 33 off turn number 4. He is going to come away with the first heat race win. It's Michael Goodwin out of Wellsville, Pennsylvania, taking the Xtreme Stock first qualifier. 8 of Keith Reed will come home in the number 2 spot. All right, field stacking up down the back straightaway into the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. 76 Jesse Daniels, 11A of James Spielman, 2 of our drivers and regulars at Hagerstown Speedway in the past as they get the green 4 wide for third spot. It dropped back to 3 wide. Glenn Grimm kind of got out of the gas a little bit, but they are side by side for the lead. Spielman will get the edge, but here comes another driver. That's going to be the 15. Make it the number 9 machine, or am I wrong again? As they come off at turn number 3 and 4, the challenge is going to be for the lead. Oh, it's another number 8. Imagine that. We only have 25 8s in the field tonight. Tyler Miller out of Westminster, Maryland. He'll grab the lead off that second turn. Daniels of the 76 goes to second. The 11 is Spielman, 78 of Faust. Then it's going to be McQuay and Gordy Marshall side by side for the number 5 position. 2 laps will be complete quickly this time by. Brandon Churchy from the back end of the field started 9th. The 72C trying to crack the top 5 to the inside of Shane McQuay. Up in front of them, it's Faust and Spielman. McQuay went way wide, and he had to lift off the gas and lost him 1 spot in some momentum as it continues to be. Tyler Miller in that 8M started 6th, powered his way up into the number 1 spot. Daniels, Spielman, Faust, and Churchy, top 5 with 2 laps to go. Faust not done. He's finding a groove down bottom. Very humid night, which means a lot of tackiness and moisture in that racetrack, and they're finding some grip as they work it back into 3 and 4. Miller swings it wide. Here comes the 76 of Daniels. White flag is in the air in our second and final Xtreme Stock qualifier. Churchy in the 72C, he got around Spielman likewise, trying to see if he can make a move on Faust or at least close the gap and make a challenge in 3 and 4. Right now it is all Tyler Miller in that 8M machine off at turn number 4. He'll take the second Xtreme stock qualifier. 76 of Daniels will be second, 78 of Evan Faust, 72 RC of Brandon Churchy, and the 11 of James Spielman. They will be the top 5. Looks like we're set to go 8 laps of distance. Again, top 3 will transfer into the 30-lap main event. Again, late model Sportsman, heat race number 2 to the staging area. Late model Sportsman drivers, heat race number 2 to the staging area, please. Field getting set off at the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. Here we go, off turn 4, late model Sportsman's. Our Metzler Trailer Sales Sponsor Division presented by Elite Mechanical and Welding in Martinsburg, West Virginia. Lane Snook out of Port Royal, Pennsylvania, grabbing the lead off turn number 2. Stake into second, the F1 of Colby Fry, the one-time winner at Baps Motor Speedway earlier this year. He'll chalk into the top 3, and that will be the transfer spot we might keep our eye on. Leaders coming back for lap number 1. 12 of Bobby Beard, he started last. He's moved up 2 spots around Rick Olson and Lee Ziegler. And he is on the move, trying to see if he can close in on the F1 of Colby Fry. Snook working that low to middle groove off turn number 4. Back to the stripe. Couple of car lengths better than the 19 of Dylan State. And the F1 of Colby Fry. Leaders back in 3 and 4, evenly spaced out. A lot of gap between them right now, about 4 car lengths for Snook over State. Another 5 or 6 back to the F1 of Fry, who's comfortable in the transfer position right now. 12 of Bobby Beard moved around 2 cars quickly, but that's where he kind of hit the brakes and hasn't been able to move up closer to a transfer spot. 27 to Lee Ziegler and the 18 of Rick Olson round out the order as we hit cross flags. 4 in the books and 4 to go here in qualifier number 1. Lap number 5, recorded this time by Snook with the lead. State keeping him honest, well within striking distance, and Fry in the F1 not far behind in 3rd. They'll be looking at the 2 to go side. About a half a dozen car length separation, if not more. Snook is really getting hooked up. Hey, that 23 as he works it back into 3 and 4. 2 laps to go this time by. As the race wears on, Snook's car is really coming to him as he continues to stretch that advantage out over the D19 of Dylan Stake. White flag in the air this time by for the Port Royal, Pennsylvania drivers, Stake and Fry. They are Stake and Fry. That's pretty good. Yeah, Stake and Fry. That sounds good. Concessions. Dial them up downstairs. We need Stake and Fries up here. All the while, somebody else is cooking. That's a 23 of Lane Snook, that Port Royal, Pennsylvania driver, collecting the first Metzler Trailer Sales Late Model Sportsman qualifier tonight. The D19 of Dylan Stake. He'll wind up in the number 2 spot in the F1 of Colby Fry. He will be the 3rd and final qualifier in our Late Model Sportsman heat races. All right, field stacked up, ready to go and do battle in heat race number 2 of 6 tonight. Lane Snook, Dylan State, Colby Fry, they made their way in. The next 3 to be found out. 5 drivers answer the bell. The 01 of Jacob Piper not able to make it out as we get set at the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. Off turn number 4, green in the air for our 2nd of 6 qualifiers. It'll be Farley grabbing the lead, wiggling a little bit in the low line. Dan Zeckman in the number 2 up top, and here comes Kyle Lee in the 15K. That bottom side off a 2 went well for him. He moves up into 2nd spot. 86 of Scott Palmer, right down to the guardrail in turn number 3 and 4. It'll be Farley leading lap number 1. Lee will be 2nd, Zeckman 3rd, Palmer right there in the number 4 position, and he's going to be haunting that number 2. As the 98 of Quentin Beeman rounding out the top 5. Farlane with about 2 car length separation, but again, Lee having some good runs coming off the corners. He's trying to close up that gap with the Bruce Kane 15K machine. They have distanced themselves a little bit, not much, from the number 2 of Dan Zeckman. He's got his hands full with Scott Palmer right now. Couple of car lengths between those two drivers in the final transfer position. Leaders off at turn number 2. Farlane cocks it sideways, opens up about 3 car lengths of a lead. Halfway will be on the board when they come back to the stripe. 4 in the books, 4 to go. And Beeman in the 98, he's running 5th. Double-duty driver running the Crown Vics as well, still getting a little bit under his belt as far as some experience with the late model Sportsman. He's able to hold on to it. Leaders, meanwhile, back off at turn number 4, lap number 5. Farlane really cocks it just at the last second off the corners, and Lee is right on that rear deck lid. We'll see if the challenge is made here in turn number 1 and 2. Farlane rim riding. He's right up against the cushion. Lee can't do anything with it. Stays within a car length and a half. The top 2 back into turn number 3 and 4, and they're going to be looking at 2 to go this time by. Zeckman in the number 2 has been able to stave off Palmer and actually grow a little bit of an advantage over the 86 as they work it back in the first and second turn. One little slip by Farlane is all it's going to take as Kyle Lee is well within striking distance. Taylor again bobbles just a little bit in 3 and 4. White flag in the air, 2 car length separation between the top 2 with the 2 of Dan Zeckman. Right now the transfer driver. Off that second turn again, it's Farlane kind of turning it, cocking that car sideways, and that gives Lee a little bit of closing ground. One final set of turns off turn number 4. It'll be Taylor Farlane edging out Kyle Lee to take the victory in qualifier number 2. The 2 of Dan Zeckman will wind up transferring in. 6 have made it, and many more to be determined. And we'll find out the next 3 as we get set for the next 8-lap contest and close in on the halfway point of our late model Sportsman qualifying tonight. Again, the 5 of Brad Omps, very good qualifying run earlier tonight. Likewise for the 14 of Cody Breeden. They get a front row seat to the 3rd heat race coming up out of the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. Green is in the air. It'll be Omps to the inside, Breeden outside, and Breeden just hugging that bottom. He's trying to just kind of keep Omps down and take some of the momentum away. It worked off at 2. Omps is still there. Breeden trying to work that middle groove, and he'll be the leader of lap number 1 as the 14 brings it back to the stripe. Omps into second, and look at Murphy at the trip 0. He made up 3 spots on lap number 1. He's up into the transfer position. 16 of Dillman, the 14H of Horse side by side back for 4th with the 2+2 of Kirshner looking on. And once in front, Cody Breeden, he started to check out quickly as he works it back for lap number 2. Murphy in the 000, as we mentioned, did not have a qualifying lap. He had some issues and couldn't make it. He came out but then went right back into the pit area, never to be seen from and heard from again. And almost spun it in turn number 4. Got up by Omps. Omps had a little trouble as well, and that killed the momentum for both drivers, and that has just let Cody Breeden check out by about a quarter of a straightaway lead. Omps solidly in second, Murphy in third, Horst in 4th, followed by Dillman, and then Kirshner as we put halfway on the board in qualifier number 3. Now Kirshner would like to transfer this heat race success into a potential victory. Dire need of it. He had a very good season last year and probably could have had more, but just was bitten here and there. But right now, Fair Play Maryland driver well in control in this 3rd qualifier. Murphy has rebounded from that lost momentum, and he's beginning the re-challenge on Brad Omps. He's going to have the run coming off at turn number 2. Draws even on the exit. By the time they get into turn number 3, Murphy has got the number 2 spot, and we've got 2 laps to go. That battle has also brought Tyler Horst to the 14H right up to the transfer position in the battle for it. Omps in the 5 trying to hold on, but here comes Horst. Look, he almost had the run, but Omps had to lift a little likewise. White flag, meanwhile, in the air. A turn advantage for Cody Breeden back to the stripe. All eyes right now on the third and final spot. Brad Ums has one lap to see if he can secure a starting spot here in tonight's late model sportsman event. Tyler Horst, kind of an unorthodox line going into 1 and 2, and that's going to cost him dearly as Cody Breeden checks out off at turn 4, taking heat race number 3 in the Metzler Trailer Sales late model sportsman division. The trip 0, Dale Murphy, last to second, and the 5 of Brad Ums holds on and gets that third and final transfer spot. All right, field stacked up, 6 of them going for 3 spots. Heat race number 4 of 6 tonight. Back in the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone, Brian Booz looking for his first victory. He also did well last night, finishing up in the number 5 spot in Bedford. Kyle Lear, the runner-up up there. These two on the front row for race number 4. And the green is out. Booz will carry him off into turn number 1 and 2. Lear will launch it off of that second turn and draw back down within a car length. Keith Kuntz of the 08. He'll quickly be up into the number 3 spot. Leader's back in 3 and 4. Lear trying to find that bottom side. Give Booz the lead on lap number 1. Kuntz followed by Andy Anderson, and then the 28Z of Ryan Zook. Zook had some handling issues and did not have the qualifying run that he wanted, but he can help himself big time if he can get around 2 more cars and get a transfer spot. Meanwhile, up front, it's Booz and Lear, and they're going at it for the number 1 spot. Booz will still be the leader. Here comes Zook. He got around Anderson and now to the inside of Keith Kuntz for the transfer position. 28Z, the one-time winner at Port Royal Speedway, down to the inside, trying to see if he can get that third and final qualifying spot. He and Kuntz side by side. Booz with a couple of car lengths of an edge here on lap number 3. Zook continuing to work the bottom line. Keith Kuntz trying to hold him at bay, and right now he's running that good line, but Zook is still right with him as they come off the turn. Half a car length separation. We put cross flags in the air for heat race number 4. 4 in the books and 4 to go. Booz, Lear, and Kuntz, the top 3. Zook tried a different line and kind of followed a little bit in the tire tracks of Keith Kuntz that time by. Still about the same interval of car length between those 2 drivers as they work it back into 3 and 4. Leader's back to the stripe, and Booz starting to stretch his advantage out over Kyle Lear a little bit. Couple of car lengths over. Ryan Zook is the Keith Kuntz machine. And 2 laps to go quickly here in qualifier number 4 this evening for Brian Booz. Things are stabilizing a little bit for the transfer position. Kuntz has it. Zook is still well within striking distance, but can't quite seal the deal and get around him. And right now it stays about 2 car length separation with the white flag out. Booz and Lear back to the stripe. Final lap for the Greencastle, PA driver, the defending late model sportsman track champion here at the Hagerstown Speedway, going up against the defending Free State 30 champion and one-time winner so far this year. But it's going to be Brian Booz taking the 4th qualifier tonight in the V2. Kyle Lear will wind up at the number 2 spot. The 08 of Keith Kuntz fends off Ryan Zook. He'll get the transfer spot in qualifier number 3. Nine different late model sportsman winners in 17 races a year ago, and DJ Myers was one of them. He's trying to see if he can get one tonight and start with a heat race as he grabs a lead here in qualifier number 5. Hugging down to the bottom side, the 94 of Brandon Bard will be right there. Mason Booz slips up and spinner in turn 2. Going to be 11 of Sean Bowers. He'll be out of shape and brings out our first Jesse James Auto Mart caution of the night. Classic cars. He'll also be a part of the program, and it's all part of back-to-school night next Saturday here at Hagerstown Speedway. Very busy night of racing. 5 classes, 6 features as we get set back at the Jesse James Auto Mart restart zone. Myers trying to see if he can get up to the gearbox and get back in front of Brandon Bard to that 94. And Myers working it down to the bottom side. Upon entrance, Morgan and Bonebreak split the difference on Mason Booz. In Morgan in the 44X, the number 3 spot. Bonebreak in the 37F back in 4th. As the leaders come back, led by BJ Myers for lap number 1. And Myers already trying to check out. Also has some good runs at Pat Valley Speedway up in Pennsylvania this year for the 70J. 94 Bard, as we mentioned last night, coming home 7th in the late model Sportsman action at Bedford Speedway. Right now running a very solid 2nd. The 44X of Ralph Morgan. It's been a long time since we've seen Ralph. But the Mount Union, Pennsylvania driver right now solidly in that 3rd spot, which will be a transfer position. Bonebreak in the 37F in 4th, and the M2 of Mason Booz rounding out the top 5. Challenge for 2nd. Morgan to the inside of Bard, not quite able to make the pass down the back straightaway, as Myers has built up about a turn advantage and really coming through the corner. It was Morgan sweeping right across the front nose of the 94 Bard. Brandon did the crossover and got himself right back up into 2nd spot. He and Morgan having a tussle. Both are in, but they are fighting like it's for the championship right now. 37F of Bonebreak. He's a good distance back in 4th as Myers comes back for the 5th circuit. Bard to the 94. He'll reassume the number 2 spot with Morgan in 3rd. Myers looking at midseason form, beyond midseason for the 70J. Strong performances no matter where he goes. And right now the Greencastle, Pennsylvania driver taking the 2-to-go sign this time by. Bard to the 94, still shadowed by Morgan as they come back to the stripe. Bonebreak remains in 4th, followed by the M2 of Mason Booz. And again, Morgan trying to see if he can move himself up further by 1 spot in the feature. He is still working on Bard down the backstretch as Myers takes the white flag. And again, Morgan down to the bottom, sweeping, and this time contact is made. Morgan gets 2nd, Bard back to 3rd as the leaders make their way in, and Bard trying to hold on for dear life. Meanwhile, it's going to be Myers off at turn number 4. DJ Myers taking the 5th late model Sportsman qualifier tonight, the Metro Trailer Sales Division, being presented by Elite Mechanical and Welding. 44X of Ralph Morgan Jr. and the 94 of Brandon Bard make their way in tonight. Field stacked up, set to go in the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. The final 8-lap qualifier tonight. Again, there will be an LCQ or 2 as we get set to whittle the field down and get everybody straight as who's going to be in and who's not. Trayton Lee up through the gearbox, grabbing the lead on Caden Bard as they make it back into turn number 1 and 2. Bard a little bit out of shape, kind of hit the binders to avoid contact with Lee. And looks like Murphy in the 21M. He'll get 3rd right now with the 9 of Walls. Top 4 here on lap number 1. Lee with the lead by a car length or so. Bard in the 72, shadowing him in 2nd. A little bit of a distance back to Murphy, and he's got a little bit of a gap over Keith Walls right now as the top 3 make their way back. Body single file and some good gaps between each car as they work it back for lap number 3. Lee up in the high line, and here comes Bard in the 72, closing it down a little bit more. 21M of Murphy comfortable in that number 3 position. Bard is chewing away on Lee, but that time a little out of shape off that 2nd turn, and Lee was able to launch better and open up a little bit of a gap. Archer and Walls side by side. That would be for 4th. Both need to get up 1 more notch in the order as we put halfway on the board. Leaders off at turn number 2, and again Trayton Lee here in the 2nd half of tonight's final 8-lap qualifier begin to stretch out that advantage. Lap number 5 going on the board this time by for the Mercersburg PA driver. 72 of Caden Bard, 21M of Matt Murphy. Right now, they're the top three. Archer and Walls, their own private battle for fourth. Two laps to go that time by here for Trayton Lee as he works it off at turn number 2. Looking good as, again, 30 laps coming up for them. $3,000 to the winner of the Metzler Trailer Sales Late Model Sportsman Division being presented by Elite Mechanical and Welding. White flag in the air. Trayton Lee on his way to see if he can secure the victory here in the 6th and final Late Model Sportsman qualifier of the night. The Mercersburg, Pennsylvania driver in the 2T will indeed do it. Trayton Lee scores the victory. 72 of Caden Bard will wind up in second. He'll make it in. And the 21M of Matt Murphy, the third and final qualifier in our Metzler Trailer Sales Late Model Sportsman Heat Races being presented by Elite Mechanical and Welding.
Green in turn 4.
Right field at the Jesse James Auto Mart. Start zone, we go green in Crown Vic action. Creekside Auto Sales, Crown Vics, 98 to Beeman. Grabbing the lead down in 1 and 2 to Cron Powell, the 8-star. He won opening night. Hadn't seen him since. He makes his way back, and he's trying to make his way to the inside for the lead. As Beeman's got the edge for the moment, back in turn number 3 and 4. Beeman will be up in that high groove right around the cushion, and now it's going to be Powell following in his tire tracks. These cars will stay pretty tightly bunched together. It comes down to the driving style and the education of these drivers, and the power. I mean, they're pretty much dead even, so you're going to see them pretty much in a freight train. And right now it's going to be Beeman by 2 car lengths over Powell. Ringer back there in third. Shable in the 119. We mentioned a makeup race for Crown Vics coming up in a few weeks. Shable was one of the heat race winners that night before their feature got rained out. So he's another heavy favorite to look at for a chance to win a Crown Vic race. We mentioned DeCron Powell, Colton Replogle, and Sean Meddy, all winners so far this year. And there are several other heavy contenders that can be there. Right now, Quentin Beeman trying to be one of them. He was a one-time winner a year ago in the 98 machine. He'll take the 2-to-go sign off turn number 4. Powell and his tire tracks. They've been able to distance themselves a little bit from Ringer. The 119 is Shable back there in the number 4 spot, followed by the 717 of Travis Cause. White flag about to go in the air this time by, and it is anybody's race. Powell looking to the inside. Beeman still the leader, and he's got one hard circuit left to go. Powell is just peeking to the inside, and he may take a challenge down in 1 and 2. It just slides up the banking and right up behind the 98 to Beeman. So Powell's got one set of turns to see if he can make one more run for the money as they work it back in 3 and 4. Beeman running that middle groove. Powell right in the tire tracks, almost spun out as they made a slight bit of contact. Beeman in the 98, he's going to take the victory. Powell in the number 8 second. Ringer's going to be third. 119 to Shable and the 717 of Travis Cause. They will be the top 5 in the first of our 2 Creekside Auto Sales Crown Vic heat races here this evening. Late Model Sportsman, B-Main number 1 drivers, you can make your way to the staging area. Late Model Sportsman drivers, B-Main number 1, you can make your way to the staging area. Meanwhile, green is out in our second and final qualifier of the night. Ed Vogel in that 60, make it 83, looking to see if he can grab the lead from the outside. Harding in the 68H, number 2 man in points, right behind him in second. Lap number 1 completed that time by, and it is going to be Ed Vogel. He's also had some good solid runs this year in the 83 car. Off of turn number 2, Harding right there, about a car length back in the number 2 spot, followed by Blizzard, and then the 45, Ameti. 19 Garen Place at the Berkeley Springs, West Virginia, rolling across the line as we put lap number 2 on the board in our final heat race of the night. Well, three pairs of two-car battles around the Speedway. The battle for the lead probably has the biggest gap, and that's only about a car length between Vogel and Harding. It will be Blizzard and Medi. They are nose to tail, and then further back, the rest of the field, it looks like Graham Bresler and Sky Blizzard have their own battle back there from 4th as the leaders took the 2-to-go sign that time by. Vogel still only a car length separation. Medi now looking to the outside of Blizzard in the number 45 machine. White flag is in the air this time by. Top 2 nose to tail. 3rd side by side. It's going to be Medi winning the battle with Blizzard on the outside with 1 lap to go. And Harding gets the run off turn number 2 on Vogel. And they are dead even down the back straightaway for their final lap. Turn 3 and 4 will be the telltale sign. Going to be Harding drifting up slightly. Good racing. Hard. They're going to come back down to the wire, and it's going to be Alan Harding taking the second heat race victory. The 83. Ed Vogel coming home in second. 45 is Sean Medi. 19 is Justin Blizzard. They will be the top 4 in our final Crown Vic heat race of the night. And they'll have their 15-lapper, which will be the finale this evening here at the Speedway. Well, ladies and gentlemen, we didn't have a chance to do it after it was concluded, but we are now playing a little bit of catch-up. I lost that earlier tonight. I know I lost that $100 bill somewhere tonight. Lane Stook stole it. Lane, you took my money, but you know what? Folks, first of all, give it up for Lane Snook out of Port Royal, PA, our fast qualifier tonight in the Metzler Trailer Sales Late Model Sportsman Division. Lane, it's been a great last couple of years for you. We've been following you not only through the central Pennsylvania area and all the successes you've had in limited late model racing. Got a great opportunity with Bruce Kane to do some high-powered super late model racing on the highest level. Tell me about your journey and the way things, how you felt and how it's been these last 2 years. Did you expect to have the successes you've had so early in life?
Oh man, it's been a pretty wild ride, honestly. I've been running good. Then in 2024, I started going on the road a little bit, great traveling, learned a lot, came back home and started running good, and went from there with the winter again, and had a good year last year, and running good this year as well, and just trying to get a little bit better on these tracks where it gets real slick. So we'll find out how we do tonight. Pretty good start position, so we'll find out how it goes. And yeah, I got to thank Bruce for the opportunity that he's given me, and it's pretty cool. It's what I want to do, and I'm going to work a lot off for it, for sure. Looking forward to the next couple of weeks here, and trying to get through the night first.
What do you have the next couple of weeks? Just tell us your schedule, because a lot of people like to see where Lane Snook is going.
I think we're going to go to Selinsburg on Friday with the Super, and Port Saturday for the local races, and then race Port Royal versus Car the weekend after for the Lucas shows, and then we go to Royal the week after and versus Car as well. And, I'm not really too sure after that. We kind of take it week by week and trying to figure out where we need to, what makes the most sense for our team to go. And, we just figure out where the race is at after that.
You've had a great educational process, and you've had a lot to have to process. I mean, limited late model racing, late model sportsman racing in this region, whether it's Hagerstown, Port Royal, Selinsgrove, Bedford, it's some of the toughest competition. So you already had a good launching point, but I don't think anything can prepare you when you got to go up in Selinsgrove area or Port Royal against a Greg Satterley type driver or Trevor Feathers and the successes they have. How much of a help has that been to you to learn from those guys, watch what they're doing here before you even eventually went up into the national tour and some of the races you have with Bruce? Has that been a help to you?
Oh, for sure. There's definitely no slouches up there. And the limited tour series is really, it's been pretty cool to race up front with Satterley and then Seals going to go all this year. We can get a little bit better in some of the other places, but we're making gains on it. And we can get a little bit of luck on our side, and I think we'll be right there if we want. But yeah, it's definitely been a learning curve for sure. Racing a lot of these good guys race limited races, especially these big ones. And you kind of get to race against them and you can learn a little bit from them, and you race with the supers and you race somebody like Greg Satterley and you learn more, and if there's a big limited race somewhere, you go race it, and then you got that much more experience from that time you go there, so it's definitely helpful for sure. Yeah, it's all been a big learning curve for me, so just trying to learn as much as we can really, and then trying to proceed what we learn on the racetrack and hopefully see results.
Well, for an announcer, it's a challenge tonight because we had Dylan Stake running second, Colby Fry in third. So, of course, I'm going Stake and Fry coming down the front straightaway. We got Lee and Lear. Well, those two will always be glued together somewhere. Do me a favor. Ryan Zook's here tonight. Is it going to be a Snook and Zook show? I know Port Royal probably goes nuts with that sometimes, too.
Oh, for sure. They mess us up all the time. Ryan knows, and it's everything makes you got some bad luck there qualifying and do what's switching around. So hopefully he gets it figured out here and puts it in the shade in the second main and can make his way in front of us.
Well, Lane, on behalf of Hagerstown Speedway, it's a great honor to have you here. You've had a tremendous, very short career in a very short period of time for such a young man to learn so much. Thank you for being here tonight, and we wish you the best of luck, not only here in the Free State 30, but the balance of your season. And we'll certainly be watching you on Flow and anywhere else in your racing career.
I appreciate it. I want to thank all the fans for coming out, and hopefully we put a good show on for you here in this race. And thanks to all the sponsors and everything for putting money up, and Hagerstown for having us here. Like I said, hopefully we'll put a good show.
All right, folks, Lane Snook, another future superstar in the making in super late model action, taking some $100 there. Again, our thanks out to Metzler Trailer Sales, one of our fine sponsors of late model sportsmen, and again, Elite Mechanical of Welding in Martinsburg, West Virginia, one of the proud presenting sponsors tonight. 27 Lee Ziegler, 98 of Quentin Beeman, 2+2 of Cody Kirshner, and 16 of Justin Dillman, the drivers that are rounding out the order. We get set, the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. 10 laps, top 3 to make it. As the field knifes their way back in 1 and 2, going to be Palmer from the outside. That front row grabbing that early lead. Beard under attack. Tyler Horst, he's looking for a transfer spot. Bobby Beard, Horst, and Lee Ziegler. They're all fighting 3 cars for 2 spots. Ziegler pulls up to the outside and now gains some momentum down the front straightaway. Beard will be second. Ziegler to the outside of Horst, trying to get in that final transfer position. He's working the outside pretty good. And Ziegler, for the moment, edges by the 14H of Horst and up into third. Palmer, meanwhile, with a good lead early as he comes back for lap number 2. Bobby Beard with about a 2-car length advantage over Lee Ziegler, the 27 out of Huntington, Pennsylvania, right now on the transfer spot. 14H, Waynesboro, Pennsylvania driver Tyler Horst still well within striking distance. He gets a good bit of momentum off at turn number 4, right up to the rear spoiler of the Ziegler machine. Now he dives it down to the bottom side, trying to see if he can make that pass, but Ziegler's got him covered off of turn number 2. Lap number 4 about to be completed for Palmer at Greencastle, Pennsylvania. The 86 machine back to the stripe. Good quarter of a straightaway advantage over Bobby Beard. And here comes Horst. He continues to work that high line through the corners. And it's working as he powers on the outside in turn 1 and 2. And Horst will now get the number 3 position. Ziegler back to 4th. The 2+2 of Cody Kirshner right there with the 16 of Dillman. Not far behind. Meanwhile, halfway for Palmer. 5 in the books and 5 to go here in B main number 1. Horst wants to get off that bubble. He's closing on Beard a little bit as Ziegler's still well within striking distance. Leaders coming back. Lap number 6, second half of tonight's first 10-lap B main. Old Scott Palmer, and here goes Tyler Horst again. He tried the low line on Ziegler. It didn't work. He eventually found something up top that got him into the race right now. And he was trying the same on Bobby Beard. Now he again will try to go top shelf, but he really has to pull up. Lost a ton of momentum. And here comes Ziegler and Kirshner. They are all fighting. 3 cars for 1 spot here in the first B main tonight. Horst trying to gather himself back up, and for the moment, he's got 3rd. Kirshner with a good run off of turn number 2, right up on the rear spoiler of Ziegler. To the inside he goes. Meanwhile, 2 laps to go for Palmer. Kirshner not done. He got around Ziegler. Now he's going to drift the car wide. Ziegler has the bottom open, and he'll reassume that number 4 spot that time by. But again, Kirshner working that high line, and he may get that 4th position, but he has to lift a little bit. Got close to the guardrails off of turn number 2. Palmer, meanwhile, taking the white flag this time by. Solidly in second, going to be the 12 of Bobby Beard. And for the moment, the 14H of Tyler Horst. Kirshner does get around Ziegler, and now he's really got to pedal hard this final lap as he's trying to hone in on the 14H machine down the back straightaway. Off of turn 3 and 4, it's going to be Scott Palmer checking in for the first B main victory tonight. Bobby Beard to the number 12. He'll transfer in, and Tyler Horst to the 14H. He'll get the 3rd and final qualifying spot here in B main number 1 for the Metzler Trailer Sales Late Model Sportsman, presented by Elite Mechanical and Welding. Get Xtreme stock drivers for your main event. You can make your way to the staging area. Xtreme stock drivers for your feature. You can head to the staging area. He'll stack it up. Final 3 spots up for grabs as they hit the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone in turn number 4. Going to be Zook trying to power down very quickly. Opens the inside door for Andy Anderson to get to the inside of Bone Break. Leaders back in 1 and 2. Zook will be there. And here comes Bone Break and Anderson side by side for second. The 9 of Walls looking on right there in 4th. Zook will be the leader of lap number 1. That 28Z machine handling problems in qualifying relegated him to not the best starting spot in the heat. He could not get into the top 3, but right now he's got it dialed in for the moment and has a good solid advantage here in the early going. Bone Break, meanwhile, wins the battle with Anderson to move up into 2nd spot. Walls back in 4th. Those 4 have peeled away just a little bit. Archer in the 36, back in 5th. Stover 7th, Mason Booz in 8th, and going to be Bowers rounding out the order. Well, in turn 4, going to be Mason Booz. He got to the inside of Sam Archer, and he ended up spinning. The 11 of Bowers nowhere to go. Likewise, spun to avoid contact. All right, Delaware double file is what we have. That puts Zook at the point. It's going to be Anderson to the inside of Bone Break in row number 2. 3 laps are complete as we get set back at the Jesse James Auto Mart restart zone. All right, green back in the air. Ryan Zook leads him back in the 1-2 turn. Going to be Anderson to the bottom side of Bone Break in the battle for the number 2 position. And Keith Walls in that number 9 within striking distance. He needs to gain 1 more spot to get himself into the feature event. Leaders are back in turn number 4. Back to the stripe. Lap number 4 completed this time by Zook in control. And trouble again. Same 2 drivers off turn 4. Again, Booz and Bowers have their issues off of that second, make it fourth turn. Once again, Xtreme Stock Drivers, your main event next. Xtreme Stock Drivers, we need you too with a staging area for your feature. Back at the Jesse James Auto Mart restart zone one more time. Zook at the point. Anderson trying to dig down even lower than him as they come back to the stripe. And bone break to his high side as he work it back into 1-2 turn. It'll be Zook in control, but now it's going to be Anderson with the low side and surge, and Walls likewise on bone break. In top three make it in. Zook trying to get himself out of the hole and back into a feature event. And right now he's got a good lead on Anderson here on lap number 5, halfway that time by. Bone break in the 37F. He has now earned that third spot away from the number 9 of Keith Walls. 36 of Archer, 16 of Dillman. Or make it the 11S of Stover, excuse me. They're running side by side further back in the field as we come back for our latest lap, closing in on the finale and rounding out our field for tonight's Free State 30. So no challenges right now for the top three. They're in good shape as they work down the back chute. Keith Walls was within striking distance of the second and third place battle prior to the last caution, but now he's had to fend off Austin Stover and Sam Archer as the leaders make their way back. Stover right on that rear deck lid of Walls, but they still have a distance to go to catch up to Bone Break as they work off at turn number 2. 2 laps to go. Zook has checked out of the 28Z as he works his way back. Mifflintown, Pennsylvania driver, a one-time winner at Port Royal Speedway, makes his way back. He had a battle for the championship a couple of years ago here at Hagerstown, and Zook right now just happened to be back behind the wheel of that 28Z machine. White flag in the air. Andy Anderson, Wesley Bone Break, so comfortable in their second and third place positions. Final lap here in the B main tonight. And off of turn number 4, Ryan Zook will get the second and final B main victory in the 28Z machine. 25 of Andy Anderson makes his way into second. 37F, Wesley Bone Break will be the final 3 drivers to make it into tonight's late model Sportsman main event. Well, coming in, we mentioned that it was Dylan Beavers with the lead over Nathaniel Yonker in the points. So with Nathaniel not here tonight, that is going to help Dylan's cause a little bit, but he does have some other chasers in the field. So starting mid-pack, we'll see if he can score his first victory of the 2026 season. All right, field set, back to the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone as we get set to battle it out. 15 laps coming up for the Bob Spielman Realty Xtreme Stocks, presented by Sign Design by Bill Funk. And Tyler Miller shot out of a cannon on that outside. Looked very strong in his heat race earlier tonight. Going to be Goodwin in that 33 trying to fend off Keith Reed. But Reed's going to have the better of him down the back straightaway. He'll gain second. Robbins back to third. Going to be the 76 of Daniels in fourth. As the leaders 2x2 stacked up from second on back, sometimes 3 wide in certain spots, but it's going to be Miller right now as your leader. Reed and Goodwin will be side by side, the 8 and the 33. Churchy in the 72 RC started back in the number 8 spot. He's already up into fourth, challenging for fourth. He's on the inside of Jesse Daniels. 78 of Evan Faust, the 8 of Blake Reed. There likewise as Miller brings him back and scores lap number 2 here in tonight's Xtreme Stock main event. Good battling from second on back. Reed working the low side, going to be the 33 of Goodwin. Still has it wound up on the high side, but Reed's now going to get that launch off of turn number 2 and be able to assume that second spot. But Goodwin has really found the upper groove to his liking, and he stays even with him as he work off that second to make it fourth turn. Miller brings him back to the stripe. Give Goodwin the edge over Reed. 76 of Daniels, 78 of Evan Faust. They'll be the top 5 here at lap number 3. Blake Reed also making some strides. He got around Churchy moments ago. That puts him up in the 6th. Churchy back in 7th. Fisher in 8th. Beavers in 9th. And McQuay in the 3D. They make up the top 10 here in the early going. Well, the battle for second has not allowed Miller really to gain away from those top two, or those second and third place drivers. Still only about a 5-car length advantage at the most for Tyler Miller in that 8M machine. Miller, a one-time winner at the Baps Motor Speedway. That's probably where we'd see him on a Saturday night. And right now it's still Reed and Goodwin. Good side-by-side battle. Meanwhile, the 78 of Evan Faust, he's worked his way up into fourth. 76 of Jesse Daniels having a very good run. He's up into fifth. Tyler Fisher, Blake Reed side-by-side for the number 6 spot. Shane McQuay in the 3D is 8th, and 62 of Dylan Beavers. Rounding out the top 10, the driver that's fading right now. Tough break for the 72 RC of Brandon Churchy. Always a very strong competitor. He was making a run. Fisher now in the 32. He's off the pace. Down in turn 3 and 4. Leaders coming back. 7 are complete as we close it on halfway in tonight's 15-lapper. Tough break for Tyler Fisher in the 32F. One-time winner a year ago in the Pure Stocks. He pulls it off into the pits. Reed and Goodwin. Meanwhile, still with that battle, and again, they have not been able to let Miller out of their sights, or Miller just can't get away from them. Halfway on the board here in tonight's 15 lap. Bob Spielman Realty Extreme Stock Division, presented by Sign Design. Ford still to Evan Faust. He's got some pedaling to do to catch him. And really, when those two are just waging war side by side, they're closing the gap on Tyler Miller. Goodwin with the edge as he came across his stripe for lap number 9. And only about 2 car lengths separation up to the leader. Reed still with a good run down the bottom side off of 2. Faust remains in 4th. 76 of Daniels holding on to the number 5 spot. 5 circuits to go this time by. Still only a couple of car length separation between the top 3 machines. And no change outside that top 5. Shane McQuay, he's been on the move in the 3D car as he started back on the outside. Row number 6 back in 12th. McQuay now has cut that in half. He's up into 6th. And trouble for Faust to the 78. It looks like maybe a flat on that car. Faust pulling it off into the pits. Tough break for the 2-time winner a year ago and the 1-time Baps Motor Speedway winner. He was 4th, so that will put Daniels up into 4th, and now McQuay started 12th up into 5th as the leaders come back for lap number 12. Meanwhile, Goodwin has won that battle with Reed. It's not quite side by side through the corners, and now it enables him to close the gap up and concentrate on Tyler Miller, but the laps are winding down. Top 3 peel off at turn number 2. Daniels followed by McQuay, 4th and 5th. Blake Reed back in 6th. Dylan Beavers in 7th. Brandon Churchy 8th. Spielman 9th. And top 10 made up by Logan Miller with 2 circuits to go that time by. All right, final lap coming up. White flag going to be in the air this time by for Tyler Miller. Goodwin's hanging it out coming off the corner. And we may have our 3rd winner in as many races here in the Extreme Stock Division. Miller working off at turn number 2. Reed still trying to win that battle down bottom with Goodwin as they come off that 2nd turn. Reed's going to make the run, but Miller also with a good launch in the lead. And he's got a few car length separation off at turn 4. Our 3rd winner in as many tries, Tyler Miller, coming away with the Extreme Stock victory tonight. Pole sitter Michael Goodwin coming home in 2nd. Keith Reed, Shane McQuay, and Jesse Daniels. They will be your top 5 tonight here at Hagerstown. Well, as one motor comes to a close here on the front straightaway, you hear our late model Sportsman drivers gearing up, but I think everybody, he'll be able to hear them. Folks, give it up for Tyler Miller, your Extreme Stock winner tonight. Tyler, welcome to Hagerstown Speedway, my friend.
Thank you, thank you.
Hey, dude, great heat race win. Yeah, obviously got a good starting spot, the outside of row number 1, but boy, did you launch coming off of turn number 4. But what was so crazy about it the whole time with Goodwin and Reed back there, they were battling hard side by side, and you just couldn't edge away from them. They kept that battle tight and kept you honest all night.
Yeah, you know, the car was extremely tight in feature time. It was very, I thought they were going to be there only a lot more than what they were. It was, couldn't get it to turn at all. Super tight middle out. Didn't think we were going to get this one.
Oh, you never would have known it by our vantage point up there. I know you got at least one victory at BAPS, right?
Yeah, one this year at BAPS.
Okay, now you got one at Hagerstown. So where are we going next to win another race at another racetrack?
I just stick here at BAPS.
Well, I know we got a lot of the BAPS boys down here tonight. That was pretty cool. You guys have put on a good show. You've had a lot of races up there, some good competition. Will we have a chance to see you back down here again this year?
Yeah, we'll be back.
Who would you like to thank?
First, I'd like to thank my mom, my dad, Patrick McLean, Sammy Ryle, Marshall McMullen and TikTok Chassis, James Glassmeyer Electric, Shorms Vinyl Screen Printing, Naylor's Property Service, Palmer Brothers Carver, Old Goat Antique and Collectibles, Richard Green Electric, Hagerstown Moose.
All right, Tyler, again, great job. Thank you so much for coming down, and we look forward to seeing you again. And good luck up at BAPS the rest of this year.
Thank you.
All right, fans, Tyler Miller, your Extreme Stock winner here at Hagerstown tonight. Track champion on his outside, Taylor Farley, the 8H, the two-time Sealands Grove winner, DJ Myers in the 70J, lined up in row number 2. We are set to hit the Jesse James Auto Mart start zone. This is the Metzler Trailer Sales Late Model Sportsman's presented by Elite Mechanical and Welding off at turn number 4. And Lane Snook wasting little time grabbing that number 1 spot. Booze tucking up into second. DJ Myers, top 3, quickly nose to tail, trying to scoot away as the leaders make their way through 3 and 4. Myers going top shelf on Booze. Trouble, it's Cody Breeden, and many drivers all crash into each other. Contact may not be major. There is some. It's like the 37 of Bone Break, the 94 of Brandon Bard. He's up in there. 28Z of Ryan Zook may also have been involved. 14 of Cody Breeden. All right, folks, there are no laps complete. It is a complete restart. We had not got a lap complete, so we are back from the beginning. Back at the Jesse James Auto Mart restart zone. One more time, stuck right to the bottom of the racetrack. Booze, Myers, and Farley as they make their way back into 1 and 2. This time, Booze going top shelf. He really grabs something up high, and he gets a good run down the back straightaway. Right behind Snook. Myers in 3rd, Farley in 4th, Trayton Lee, the 2T. Right now the top 5, and here comes another surge of traffic just behind him as they're roaring through turn 4. Lap number 1 of 30 in the books. Top 5 make it 6, single file. We mentioned Trayton Lee back to the number 5 position. He's on the move to the inside of Taylor Farley. Dylan Stake in that D19 and the 15K of Kyle Lee. They are the top 7 as the leaders come back for lap number 2. And problems persist for the 14 of Cody Breeden. He was part of that first lap caution. Went to the pits for repairs, came back out, but now has dumped it into the back pit area as Snook brings us back for lap number 3. Brian Booze second, DJ Myers, Taylor Farley, and Trayton Lee right now the top 5. Caution, meanwhile, on the speedway. Field back in the Delaware double file. Snook has been the leader from the outset, just 3 circuits. Myers and Booze, that will be a great battle for the number 2 spot when they go back to green. Trayton Lee and Taylor Farley lining up in row number 3. Trayton's brother Kyle right behind him in that 15K as they hit the Jesse James Auto Mart restart zone. Snook at the point. Here we go. And chops right down. DJ Myers, he was open to find a piece of real estate between the guardrail and that 23. And couldn't quite find him, but Myers is right there. He won the battle with Booze, but now he slides up the banking. Booze is right there. Trayton Lee gets around the 8F of Taylor Farley. Puts himself up into 4th. Kyle Lee on the move as well. Up in front of them, Booz and Myers. They're going hammer and tong right now. Give it to Myers for the number 2 spot. 4 laps complete. That time by. And Lane Snook would love to see that. Just battle amongst yourselves, and let me just check out. The 23 looking for his 7th limited late model win and the 4th track in the Northeast region this year. Victories, as we mentioned, at Bedford Speedway earlier this year, as well as Sealands Grove and Port Royal. Field working their way back down the front straightaway. 5 in the books, 25 to go. DJ Myers, a 2-time winner from Sealands Grove Speedway this year and a 1-time winner a year ago here at Hagerstown. He's broken away from Booz, and he is on the move. He is tracking the 23 off at turn number 4. Myers back to the stripe. He's second. Booz in third. Kyle Lee now has worked his way up into 4th. Trayton Lee has dropped a lot. The 2T has fallen back several positions as the 8F of Farley now makes the top 5. Colby Fry up into 6th. Lee drops into 7th with 7 circuits complete. Kyle Lee, the man on the move. He is the most recent late model Sportsman winner here at Hagerstown Speedway. The 15K launches into turn 3 and 4. Slides it up the banking, trying to get around the B2 of Brian Booz. He'll make the pass successful and be 3rd at the stripe. Booz back into 4th. And now Booz made the run down bottom, but Lee is going to have the high side momentum. He'll take 3rd. Booz in 4th. Farling 5th. Colby Fry in the number 6 spot. Trayton Lee back in 7th. Meanwhile, up front, as we close in on the 1/3 mark of tonight's 30-lap free-state event, it's going to be Snook and Myers. 3 to 4 car length separation between the top 2. They've got a good half straightaway over Kyle Lee right now. Colby Fry in the F1. He's also been on the move. He started on the inside of row 7, back in 13th position. He's trying to knock on the door for the top 5. One-time Baps Motor Speedway winner is on his way after Taylor Farling right now, just outside the top 5. Single file for the most part, other than Fry. He got the good run. Taylor Farland a little out of shape off at turn number 2, and Fry launches it right into the inside, right up in between Farling and Booz. And now Farling, the crossover move down the front straightaway. That's the battle for 5th. As looks like we got one car off the pace. That's the 21M of Matt Murphy. Heads it off into the back pit area.
Caution, caution, driver, stay low in 3 and 4, low in 3 and 4.
And trailing turn 4, it's your
4.
2nd place runner, DJ Myers, at the number 70. Problems for the Greencastle, PA driver, high up against the wall in turn 3 and 4.
Nice and slow front row here. Let the field catch up to you. We can go green out of 4. Nice and easy, drivers, nice and easy. Good job, going green out of 4.
Snook will take him back into 1 and 2. Brian Booz to the outside of Kyle Lee. He'll win that battle of row number 2. And up into 2nd. Lee to 3rd. Fry gets around Farling. That puts him up into 4th. And now Farling has the challenge by Trayton Lee, who goes right over the front nose as they come off at turn number 4. And that will open the door for Ralph Morgan in the 44X to the bottom side and put Morgan up into the number 6 position. Farling back into 7th. Dylan Stake in 8th. Keith Kuntz in 9th. And Ryan Zook, one of the Consi winners, now in the top 10, that 28Z, as we put lap number 14 on the board tonight. Top 5, single file and evenly spaced out. Ralph Morgan in 6th position. The challengers are 7th. Here comes the D19 of Dylan Stake to the inside of Taylor Farling. As we go halfway in tonight's Free State 30. 15 in the books and 15 to go for a $3,000 to win payday. Oh, Lane Snook as he opens up a pretty good lead on Brian Booz. And meanwhile, Kyle Lee back in 3rd, Fry in 4th, Trayton Lee in the 2T. He had dropped back a little bit. Now he's regained a spot or 2. He's up in the top 5 again. 44X of Ralph Morgan, also a call out to that driver. He has had himself a good run tonight. Started 10th, and he is just outside the top 5. Farley in the 8F back in 7th. Dylan Stake in 8th. Ryan Zook now gets around Keith Coons. He's up to 9th. And he would be listed as one of your hard chargers here in tonight's Free State 30. Mifflintown, Pennsylvania driver closing up on the D19 of Dylan Stake as they work their way back to the stripe as we begin to work lap number 18 of tonight's Free State 30. Meanwhile, challenge coming for second as Snook has himself a healthy lead. Kyle Lee to the inside. A Brian Booz not to be off of turn 4 at that moment. And that's the biggest challenge right now. We'll watch that. We'll also watch Ryan Zook, your Consi winner, B-Main winner number 2. Still working on Dylan Stake as Lee and Booz nose to tail. And again, Lee surging back in turn number 3 and 4. Bobbles a little bit, goes up into the middle groove. Brian Booz gives him plenty of racing room, and he's in that high groove and holds on to second spot. All that battling has allowed Lane Snook almost a full turn advantage. And when he comes back to the stripe this time, he's going to be looking at 10 circuits to go and looking for his 4th different racetrack to score a limited late model / late model sportsman win at in 2026. Meanwhile, Ryan Zook now challenging for one more spot. That would put him up into the number 7 position, make it number 8 for the 28Z. Still battling with Dylan Stake. Other than that, the biggest challenge is coming for second, but Booz for the moment trying to fend off Kyle Lee and open up a little bit of a gap. Snook, meanwhile, begins to work the back markers in the field. The 94 of Brandon Bard. He's got some sheet metal damage on that machine as he works around him to the inside, and we come back for lap number 22 here in tonight's fast-paced Free State 30. So Zook got around Dylan Stake. As we mentioned, that puts him up into the number 8 spot after starting all the way back on the outside of row number 10 in 20th position. That's a 12-position move for the Mifflintown, Pennsylvania driver. Meanwhile, Booz and Lee continuing to going at it. And Booz holding him off, but that is just allowing Snook to just sneak away. D19 of Dylan Stake, meanwhile, pulls into
Caution,
the
caution, caution. Low, slow car in the middle of 4. Driver slow car high on 4. Caution, caution.
All right, 7 laps to go in tonight's Free State 30. Back to the Delaware double file one more time. Booz and Lee to the inside of each other. Going to be Fry and Trayton Lee back in row 3 in the Jesse James Automart restart zone. It's been Snook from the outset. Can he hold on and score the victory as he comes back to the stripe? Booz as low as he can go, and that might have cost him dearly. Look at Kyle Lee off at turn number 2. He got a great move around Booz and almost closed right up on the back end of the 23 of Snook. Lane running in that high line. It's going to be 1 lane lower for Kyle Lee as they come off the corner. Booz will be 3rd. Fry in 4th, Trayton Lee in 5th. Then you got Ralph Morgan in the 44X, but meanwhile up front, Kyle Lee not done. He continues to find a good piece of real estate to make that car work through the corners. Only about 2 car length separation. 5 laps to go when they come back to the stripe this time. Tough lap for Ralph Morgan in the 44X. He was right around the top 5, and then he just got way high, flirted with the wall, and he's dropped several positions here in the final few stages. Lap number 26 on the board. Kyle Lee not letting Snook out of his sights. 2-3 car length separation for the leaders as they come back to the line. Top 5 secure. Ryan Zook has now made his way up into the number 6 position from being a B-Main winner. Kuntz back in 7th, going to be Zekman 8th, Palmer 9th. Top 10 made up by Brad Omps as they come back for lap number 27, and Lee is still right there. Trouble for Colby Fry off of that corner. He's back in 4th. He came close. He had to lift off the wall just a little bit. He was battling hard with Brian Booz for 3rd. 2 laps to go, meanwhile, as they come back to the stripe. And And Ryan Zook could come away with a top 5. That's still a possibility for your B-Main winner to make his way in as he flirts with the number 5 spot with Trayton Lee. Meanwhile, the leaders back in turn 3 and 4. 3-car lane separation. White flag in the air. Coming up for Lane Snook. Kyle Lee just a few car lengths back in second. Final lap for the Port Royal, Pennsylvania driver. And this could be the 4th different racetrack. Bedford, Port Royal, Sealands Grove. And off of turn number 3 and 4, you can check Hagerstown off your list. It's Lane Snook checking in for his 7th limited late model win of the season, taking the Free State 30. Kyle Lee, Brian Booz, Colby Fry, and Trayton Lee, the top 5 with your B-Main winner, Ryan Zook, coming home in 6th. Very young career for this driver, but a long list of accomplishments. Folks, give it up for Lane Snook, your Free State 35 late model Sportsman winner. Well, Lane, I would say that was pretty much batting 1,000 tonight. Didn't do too bad. I love that black hat too, my friend. Hey, what a great run tonight.
Yeah, I was pretty good down the bottom this other end. I was a little snug on entry run on the top, but I just was trying to make sure I was able to spin it into the cushion there. Kyle's had a pretty good car there. They moved me up there at the end and down to that end. And, just kind of was trying to make sure I got the car turned on entry there, and I figured once I got it to rotate done, I was pretty good. But I wish that thing would have stayed green. To be honest with you, they were showing me I had a big gap, but we got the job done. I've been wanting to win here for a while now. I haven't got down here a whole lot, so this was pretty cool. And,
it is great to see you here. When we were looking at the list, and obviously I look around to see what other racetracks are running on Saturday night, and following my race pass earlier in the night, his drivers were coming in and said, oh, there he is. Cool. We got Snook in here tonight. Fantastic run. And like you said, everything was good. You had yourself a fantastic lead. But I knew you've been around long enough in a very short career to know that when you got heavyweights like that, when a caution comes out, you take nothing for granted.
Yeah, for sure. I know Brian and Kyle are both pretty good down here in the limited stuff after watching them a couple times and seeing results and stuff. So I knew I had some pretty good competition behind me there, so I knew I couldn't mess up a whole lot in that restart. I kind of knew I had to be up top of that end. I was kind of searching around there down at 1 and 2, and the car felt really good at the bottom, like I said. I guess I was a little bit better up top, so you have that sometimes. But yeah, I want to thank all my crew for coming out. Mom, my dad, Garrett back at the shop, Bernard, Tommy, Duke, my girlfriend Brooke, my sister Anna, Emily Byers and his wife are coming out. Goes Badass Motor, Uncle Jake, my meme, Dee Dee, all my other family comes to the races and supports me. All you fans are coming out. I hope it was a pretty good race for you guys. I want to thank all my sponsors too. Brendan Excavating, Adam, Sunday HVAC, Peace Recording Products, All-Star Performance, Fox's Pizza Den, Geniata Beverage, Duke Steiner, Next to Rich Beef Farm, Winners Performance, FK Rod Ends, Performance Solutions, Kaiser Wheels, Falcons Transmissions, Dynamic Drive Line, Protector Shocks, Superfly Shocks, Ryco Fabrication, Garmin Concrete Construction, Sunny Roofing, Crater Mitchell Construction, Baker Outlaw Carburetors, Grassmeyer Auctioneering, JW Handling Services, Smith Springs BDR Products, Feathers and Fur. I gotta look who else is on here. Strange Oval, the Old Hatchery, Class 1 Transport, MHT Transport, and I think that's everyone.
If it's not, I don't know where there's room for one more on there, but I guess when you win so many times, you practice and you know exactly who they are. We mentioned, and you talked about some of the races you have coming up. We're getting close to that time of year, the special time of year, big events coming up. You've had so many things that you've already accomplished. You've now knocked Hagerstown off your bucket list item, not only being at Hagerstown, but storing the victory. If there's one race out there, and I don't really mean to put you on the spot, but I'm going to, down the road for the balance of this season, whatever track it may be, what is the one that you really want to get at this point in your career?
I would really like to win my PAPS race at Port Royal here in a couple weeks for the world. Obviously, you want to win at Eldor, but that's a real tall task. And yeah, I'd like to get a super win at Port Royal, especially on PAPS race, or even a limited win on PAPS race would be pretty special. It was pretty close to having it last year and got past in the last lap, but just got to come back a little bit better this year.
Hey, and by the way, your buddy Ryan Zook, he was doing his very best to put Zook and Snook together. He started 20th. He won a B main. He finished 6th. He almost got a top 5, so your buddy did pretty good for you tonight as well.
Yeah, that's good for him. I'm glad to see they got a good turnaround there. That's, yeah, like I said, real good for them. They had a pretty strange season so far, I guess. So it's kind of crappy what happened. But yeah, I'm glad to see he's back on track and what I did.
Lane, thank you so much. Great job, and we wish you the best the rest of the year.
I appreciate it. Thank all you fans for coming out, and everybody else behind me. I definitely got a good support group behind me, and all my sponsors and people that are behind me, so I want to thank all of them, and yeah, that's it.
All right. Folks, give it up. Lane Snook, very stellar performance tonight in the Free State 30. Folks, we also had a cell phone that was found in the women's bathroom. It is up here in the tower if you would like to identify it. All right, field off at the Jesse James Auto Mart. Start zone. Final time tonight in feature activity. The Creekside Auto Sales Crown Vics being presented by Real Deal Live Sales Green. And why not? Let's go with a 3-wide battle. As they go off into turn number 1 and 2. DeCron Powell, that 8-star, trying to get the lead. Here comes the 68, making the 98. Quentin Beeman, he will be the leader down the back straightaway. Powell in second. Vogel in that 83. He had himself a good run in the heat race, but Harding, the runner-up in the series points right now, the 68H. He'll be third when they come back to the stripe for lap number 1. Sean Betty in the 45 fourth, then get back to side-by-side. Vogel in the 83, Shable in the 119. Followed by Ringer, and then your point leader, Justin Blizzard. 2 laps will be complete as they're rim riding back in turn 3 and 4. High line being run by Beeman. Couple car length separation over to DeCron Powell, followed by Harding in the 68H, Betty in the 45, Shable in the 119. We mentioned he's another driver very close to his first victory. Picked up one of the qualifying event wins a couple of weekends ago before the feature event got rained out. Shable right now makes the top 5. 83 of Vogel back there in 6th position in the freight train. Followed by the 3 of Ringer. Then the 57, not far behind. That's going to be Devin Thompson. Right now, good lead for the 98 of Quentin Beeman, double-duty driver again this weekend, running late model Sportsmans and also the Crown Vics. One-time winner a year ago. Hit the 1/3 mark of tonight's Crown Vic main event. 5 in the books, 10 to go. And still going to be the 98 of Quentin Beeman. Harding in the 68, showing a little signs of smoke on the entrance of the corners, but still a solid third right behind DeCron Powell. 45 is Sean Betty, 119 of Shable, top 5. Ed Vogel back in 6th, Ringer in 7th. 57 of Thompson holding on to 8th. Your point leader, Justin Blizzard, back at the number 9 spot. So tonight, looks like Hardy may be able to catch him a little bit in the points. 15 was the separation between those 2 drivers coming in. Leaders working back, and everybody kind of evenly spaced out. The top 5 or 6 machines as lap number 7 will be recorded, closing in on halfway here in tonight's main event. Working around the number 9 machine. That's another one of those slower cars. Oh, it's tight quarters racing back there through 1 and 2. Able to get around Graham Bresler that time by. Powell trying to keep pace as he works to the inside of Bresler down the back chute. About 5 car lengths separation. Lap number 8, which will put us at halfway here in tonight's Crown Vic main event. And a spinner in turn 4. Looks like it's going to be Ringer. Our 15, that's a 3, and maybe another number out there as well. Ron Powell back to the number 2 spot. 68H Alan Harding. 45 is Sean Menny. The 119 Brady Shable. Good field of Crown Vic drivers. They are bumper to bumper off of turn number 4 back in the Jesse James Automart restart zone. Here we go back for the final 7 circuits. Powell glued right to the rear bumper of the 98 of Beeman, that time off of turn number 2. Top 5 remain the same. The 83 of Ed Vogel back there in 6th, followed by the 57 of Devin Thompson in 7th. Leaders are coming back for lap number 9. Beeman going to have to beat letter perfect right now. Powell just looking for one little slip to see if he can score his 2nd of the year. And Powell going up the racetrack. Not sure if he had a tire going down or not, but he's going to pull it to a stop in turn number 2. Tough break for the runner-up in the 8-star machine. All right, caution lights back out with 6 circuits to go tonight. Sean Menny, the only other winner in the field right now on track, so we will see if he can be the first repeat winner. If not, we have got a new face in victory lane. Green back in the air out of the Jesse James Automart restart zone. And Menny putting the pressure right on that back bumper of Harding. Back into 1 and 2, puffs the smoke out of Harding's car. Doesn't seem any worse for the wear, as Beeman in the 98 pulls by about 2 to 3 car lengths down the back straightaway. Top 4 nose to tail. Vogel in 5th. Devin Thompson at 57 right behind him as he'll come back for 5 circuits to go this time by. Everybody single file. Thompson thinking about a move as he looks to the inside of Vogel. Not quite there. Stays back in line. 717 back behind them. That's going to be Travis Cause holding on into the number 7 spot. Leaders coming back. 11 laps complete that time by. And Quentin Beeman's got the lead, not by much, only a couple of car lengths as they work around the slower machine. That's going to be Garen Place. And meanwhile, further back, looks like Ringer and that number 3. He had a spin earlier off at turn number 4. He is trying to gather himself back up. He's worked up into the number 8 spot. Now make it 7th as he worked it back, lap number 12. Still only about a car length and a half separation between your top 2 drivers. Another 3 back to Sean Menny. Brady Shable still in 4th. And again, Devin Thompson, he's peeking on the inside of Ed Vogel, but the 83 hasn't wound up enough to hold on to that number 5 spot. 2 laps to go this time by. Top 4 have peeled away a little bit. Challenge could be coming. As we mentioned, Ringer had to go to the tail end of the field after bringing out one of the cautions. He's closed on Thompson and Vogel. We'll see if he can crack that top 5, but only 1 lap to go. Beeman bringing it back to the stripe. And right now, Alan Harding still in those tire tracks here on this final circuit. Now the back straightaway, final time. We've had DeCron Powell. We've had Colton Replogle. We've had Sean Menny. Tonight, we'll have a winner from the past last year. Quentin Beeman to the 98 coming away with his first Crown Vic victory of the season. 68H Alan Hardy coming home 2nd. 45 is Sean Menny. The 119 of Brady Shable. And the 57 of Devin Thompson. Good run for him. He started back in 11th spot and winds up in the top 5 tonight. So Quentin Beeman keeps that streak alive of different winners, 4 different feats in Victory Lane, and we'll see if we can find number 5 next weekend. The Crown Vics will be a part of the program. Again, back here at Hagerstown, along with Late Model Sportsman's Crates, Classic Cars, and the Xtreme Stocks, and we hope you can join us. We're going to have a few words. Well, folks, give it up, Quentin Beeman, our latest Crown Vic winner tonight here at Hagerstown. Quentin, I know you want to get to Victory Lane, but you got to remember, you guys don't wait. It kills an announcer trying to get all the way down those steps and come talk to you. Hey, Bubba, congratulations. Are you a little tired tonight? Because you've done a lot of laps out here.
Yeah, I've definitely done a lot of laps, and the other one wears you out a whole lot more.
Well, I bet it does. But yeah, I'll tell you one thing. Everybody kept you honest on this one, on restarts, and that's what I love about the Crown Vic division, because it really comes down to driver's ability, because these cars seem to be so evenly matched, and the driving talent's right there as well. You can't really get away from anybody. You had Alan Harding, Sean Betty, and obviously you had DeCron Powell there as well. But it's so fun, it has to be, to run these cars.
Yeah, it's probably the most fun I've ever had in racing is racing these cars, and all of our competitors are equal. We're all friends, so everybody races clean. Nobody wants their buddy to be mad at them. It's a good time.
Well, that's good, and I'm glad to hear that. You guys are going to be back next week. And the thing about it is, 4 races, 4 different winners have been here in Victory Lane. And I know we had a couple of past winners that were in the field tonight. DeCron had his issues and 1 and 2 with a flat. Sean was in the hunt. Where have you been? I mean, I know you've been trying to play with that late model Sportsman car, but what took you so long to get up here?
Well, I've been more worried about not wrecking this than I am winning with it, just so that way I can work on the Sportsman car some more.
How is the Sportsman lessons coming? I mean, did you learn a lot tonight? I mean, that was a very talent-laden field, so if you're going to learn against some of the best in the business. But how has it been going for you as far as your progress? Or do you feel like you have been making some good progress and making some good strides there?
Yeah, we definitely been making a lot of progress. If it wasn't for Mark, I'm not sure where he's at, but we wouldn't be where we are. And there's a whole lot of driver lack of talent.
You will get there, my friend. But in the meantime, who would you like to thank?
I got to thank my company, QBC Services, Mark McClellan with Crown Vic Northeast, Flash On Time Body and Graphics, the McClellan family, and my wife for putting up with all of it.
Is he fun? Is he fun to deal with, or is he? He looks like he's a load of laughs. Hey, we'll see you back here hopefully next weekend.
Will do.
All right, Quentin Beeman, he picks up his first of the year in Crown Vics at Hagerstown, our 4th different winner this year.